Welcome to Momentum Monday. Today's June 4th, 2023. Howard, I hear you're in Nashville. How do you like it so far?
It's a lot of young people making a lot of noise, and it's very new. Zero taxes has a way of juicing the economy.
Would you move there?
No, but I can see why young people, it's good schools, good lifestyle, young people, new city, new, music, central locations, kind of like a further north Austin, I guess.
Nashville? Isn't it in a different state in Tennessee?
Yeah, but I'm saying it's like a Tennessee, but it's like an Austin type town
Ah, okay.
in terms of growth and potential. Good
Good.
airport. Anyways, yeah, I mean, booming. I wouldn't normally come here, but I mentioned I'm here. A bunch of startups reached out, so there's action here.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of
Where are
booming,
you? Where are you?
I am in Sofia right now, in
I
Bulgaria.
interrupted your segue. Speaking of booming.
Yeah, speaking of booming, the stock market is booming. And it's not just the few mega caps, it's not just the tech sector anymore. We are seeing an improvement in market breadth, and especially on Friday when the small caps index, the Russell 2000, also had a pretty big day, 3.5%. I mean, it's still in a no man's land,
Yeah.
kind of going sideways, but that's definitely a big accumulation day on Friday. And
Yeah.
a lot other sectors are joining the rally. I don't know what the reason is. It's just stocks are just going up, and you just need to find a way to play them if you're in the stock
Well, I
market.
mean, it's a wall of worry. Russia, Ukraine, semiconductors, Taiwan. Uh, there's just a lot of people that have quickly become macro experts and not price experts. And if you have a profitable business in tech, you're bouncing, and that's why FANG is bouncing. They're going to have all the benefits of AI because they can afford $1 million an engineer. If you have an unprofitable tech company, you are not bouncing. As well, listen, Tesla's up 70-80% this year, but Facebook's up 200%. Nvidia's up 300%. So relatively, the stocks that have profits and are larger are moving. But it's starting to spread. Like I've talked about Confluent here, which is kind of built on Snowflake, CFLT, and you can just see it's not letting you in, right? Like it's right back to its IPO price as if nothing never happened. So this is a new leader, it looks like. And anybody who wanted to sell sold at the IPO and then into the crash. So that's a good sign. And again, let's take a look at the IPO index, because that may be a cheap way for people to very low volume, but that may be a cheap way for people to play a long-term trend and new issues. Right here, look, it's starting to set up.
Yeah, I think this one is more liquid. Yeah, let's go with this one.
Yeah. So you can see that setting up. So you have to start looking for AI related that really are going to benefit from AI. The pure plays in AI are just for day traders. I know you play that AI ticker symbol, but like if you want your stock to move 20% a day, maybe, but not for me. But it does look good. It's just so volatile.
There's so many companies that are benefiting. I mean, it could be a restaurant at some point. Right now, it's mostly about tech, like Adobe and Nvidia and Microsoft and Google. But at some point, all the restaurant stocks companies are going to mention AI on their earnings conference calls and say,
This is like
we're
the internet in 98, 99. They're going to
exactly.
start mentioning it. The interesting thing, Ivan, is banks, right? They're going to, I don't know if it's just so disruptive that they're not moving on it. Like they're all when crypto came out, let's look at JP Morgan. Yeah, let's look at JP Morgan, for example. When crypto came out, they just denied. I mean, to this day, he calls it shit. And there's some truth to it. There's not truth. With AI, they can't mention it fast enough, right? And so I don't know if that means it's true, I think it's more disruptive to the financials than you would think because AI is going to give regular, I don't know. So I think this is going to be a haves and haves not market. And it would be interesting if it wasn't crypto that really hurt the banking system, but AI. Um, so, and then I also, I've been talking to a lot of young people here about the tangible economy, right? Like, remember when we thought the world would never open again? But like, what's interesting to me is all these tangible businesses that have products with high margins. So that whole experiential world is going to be a massive trend. So I don't know. It's good that we're broadening out. How the home builders doing?
The home builders, they're doing pretty well.
So
I mean,
they're
holding, trying to break out again.
well, considering rates where they are, and JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon's out saying rates could settle in at 7-8%. I mean, that's a pretty bullish sign. Doesn't need to be going up, just needs to be holding. I
Yeah,
mean,
so
that's
the
kind of concerning that rates are creeping up still.
yeah, and the S&P is back to the same level where the Fed actually started to raise rates. So at 5% and 0% interest rates, the S&P is at the same level.
Yeah, and then the other important thing, I'll share my chart here. Hang on, if I can share my screen here, Ivan, for a second.
Okay, I need to stop sharing and then you go.
Okay. So let me share my screen. Got so many tabs open, but how do I do this? Google Chrome, share. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so markets trend. So we've gone through this long period here in 2021, 2022 when the VIX was super elevated. And you can see how tough it was. I mean, obviously if you own tech, you did well, but the last 2 years with the volatility elevated in the high 20s, very hard for the market to trend. And you can see we've now entered this period where I know it's hard for people to get long here, but as the market pulls me in. I'm a momentum person, so I've been high cash and slowly bleeding back into the market. And you can see that some of the best trending markets happen when the VIX stays low, right? And so we're
Yeah.
coming out of so there is a possibility. I know people don't want to believe, but there is a possibility that the war in Ukraine ends. It can escalate, of course, that's the headlines, but that means there's also a possibility they can end. Biden may come to, elections have a way of doing things to people. And there is a chance we don't go to war with China. The CHIPS Act is good for Arizona, right? Like we're bringing this stuff on. But remember when we thought Apple couldn't get out of China? I'll stop sharing now, Ivan. But
Okay.
and now Apple's at all-time highs, Ivan.
Yes.
We thought
Apple's
like,
at
oh, they're
all-time
dead,
highs.
COVID, they're so tied to China. And what people aren't talking about with Apple is, and it's not about the launch this week with the VR. It's like the first generation launches. It's about Apple coming for your eyes, right? You have the Surgeon General talking about how dangerous social is. Apple never really got into social, right? The phone is social, obviously, and the mobile phone is the root in some cases of all the Surgeon General's warning, but the phone's not going away. And with the watch, they kind of own your wrist. So the last bastion of fashion and tech is your, other than clothing, is your eyes. And if I think about as I get older, how many pairs of glasses I have and different prescriptions, et cetera, et cetera. If Apple's going to get in one hardware business, it will be glasses, and not the virtual kind, but just prescription. The Warby Parker, just destroy Warby Parker and turn a section of the Apple store into glasses. And obviously with that comes AI and search and voice and photos. I just think that's a trend that isn't even started yet. They already have the distribution. They're already trusted in fashion. Luxottica is basically every other brand. It's not like they're competing against anybody except one company that makes everybody's glasses. And so
It's completely normal for them to enter new industry verticals
well,
as
they're
they
entering it,
want to
but they're
grow.
entering it via like a $2,500 that's going to get panned, I'm sure. And even if it doesn't get panned and it's great. If it gets panned, that's not really their end game. I think the end game is is AI in your vision. So huge market, stocks at all-time highs. The
Amazon
hedge
is,
funds are
yeah,
net short. The hedge funds are more net short than they've ever been. You don't need much good news.
and Amazon is doing the same thing, Howard, in terms of expanding into other industries. There was a talk on Friday of them offering a becoming a mobile operator. They're already offering prescriptions. I think they bought that one medical that you mentioned that you used. So they're
Yeah,
also expanding.
yeah.
They are
I
becoming
don't love
a
their
store of
margin.
everything.
I don't love their, uh, you know, yes, it's hard to argue. I just don't, if I'm going to pick Microsoft, Google, Apple, but again, if you own the index, you own Amazon, right? It's just, it's just fascinating. I was not the buyer that, in March 2020, it was obvious to me. In October 2022, not obvious to me. What's becoming obvious to me, I haven't talked about this, is the private markets, and this could really help public markets. The private markets are so mispriced still, and there's still so much money raised and not deployed that while everybody is trying to put money to work in the private markets, you may be better off buying newly issued, surviving public companies. That's where I talked about Confluent and maybe UiPath or some of these adjacent AI companies that are starting to get a bid.
They're not even AI companies. They're just getting rebranded as such just because that's what's hot.
But they're going to benefit because of their products that they already have, meaning,
yeah.
it's an AI as a destination is going to be a very hard thing. And AI as a destination, I mean, are profitable businesses early, like Midjourney, so they don't need to raise venture capital because it's something that people want and are paying for right off the bat, so they don't need venture capital. So what I'm saying is the public markets could just benefit from the private markets being so polluted and the fact that so much money is tied up on the sidelines, not deployed, but committed. And so the only way to get back into tech is through the liquid method. And so that's a fuel. It's not even that it's fuel, it's also just a trap because all this money's been committed and held on the sidelines to be deployed in overvalued private companies when you could go buy public tech destroyed companies that may surprise you and get profitable. So that's kind of a thesis. Yeah. Again, that's form fitting something that I couldn't have thought about in October because I didn't have enough information. But having so much capital myself to deploy in the private markets and not calling it gives me a feeling that people really have misallocated to the private markets and don't know the public markets, or just mentally are reading the headlines and don't want to be invested. And it sure looks like the people that called the bottom last summer, JC, Ryan Dietrich, friends of mine that just follow price and data, have been bullish, 4, 5, 6 months, and we're just getting going. So bull markets, low VIX, good price action, terrible headlines are a good recipe. So what we got right here, Ivan, was we weren't short. You were net neutral and occasionally short for a couple positions, but I just was raising money, and I think you have to start thinking about where's the puck going to go and what could happen if news is good.
Yeah. I think every smart CEO is going to come up on their next earnings call, and they're going to mention AI, how they're using AI to reduce cost and improve efficiencies, like Starbucks and every single company. And I wouldn't be surprised if this lead to higher prices overall, and as other sectors join the rally.
Should lead to some better margin, but we're so early. If you're mentioning and your numbers suck, it's not going to be a good excuse. If you're mentioning and your numbers are good and you're making money, people will believe. So I think coming out of a bear market, and that was a bear market, and it was nasty, at least in tech, it's going to be less fluff. Obviously, you're going to have the AI, these AI moments, but once things settle down, you'll have to have a great business, and you'll have to be profitable, especially with rates at 4, 5, 6%. You have an option to put your money in T-bills, And what is a bear? Bonds are in their longest bear market or their biggest drawdown of all time still. So they continue into their biggest drawdown in history. So there's a trade there eventually too. But it's over my pay grade.
Yeah, let's see the US dollar. If it really breaks out, this could be a headwind.
I think it's going the other way though.
Yeah, I mean, let's see.
Yeah. So that's
Let's
also
see.
generally pretty good for stocks.
Yeah, if it breaks down, yes.
Yeah. So it's not easy. I'm just like right now, the evidence points to profitable tech, any shape and size, working.
And not only, I mean, on Friday we saw rotation as all the tech stocks are kind of taking a break. I wouldn't be surprised if they consolidate in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and maybe other sectors can catch up a little bit.
Yeah, but you're also seeing tech that wasn't rallying catch up. So yes, you know, it depends on what tech you own. And everybody had written off Caterpillar. You said there that it has a good day, and shipping rates are way down, container rates are way down. So there's a spark if
even China is
that, as bad as the debt deal really is in hindsight, and you know, there's going to be unintended consequences like student loan paybacks start, which I think is, you know, not good if you have student debt, but like as a capitalist, I'm like, hey man, you take out the fucking, as much as school's corrupt, you took out the loan and you're of sound mind and you got to pay the loan. We can't, not everything's free. As much as I'm for, you know, can't just give away money, I'm also realize that's going to be a big drain on a certain part of the population coming out of this.
Maybe the media is a little bit exaggerating the impact of it, but we'll see.
We'll see. All right.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Have a great week.
All right, Howard. See you next week. Bye.